Alright guys, today we're going to be starting on our barn doors for our dining room. Not our dining room, but our living room for our spare bedroom. Right now it's just a big case opening, and we're going to put up a 10-foot door, barn door, sliding door. And so we're building our barn doors out of number 2 pine. And so we're building two 36-inch doors, or they'll really be 35-inch doors. I got 20 1x4s and 8 1x6s. Now I think it was $89. And 2 barn doors are going to cost us, 2 36-inch barn doors would cost $400. And so I bought a box of 1.25" trim screws, which have a lot smaller head, and we're going to assemble with those. And now I got to get all this unloaded and get everything cut down to, I got to get my, that way it will be 8 foot tall. It won't, because everything's 8 foot right now. So stay tuned. So maybe this makes sense. I'm trying to figure out if an 84-inch door will work, or if if I'll end up having a gap at the bottom of my door. Here, this is my roller and this is my rail the door is going to mount to. I've got about 1/8 of an inch gap here, because you're going to have to be able to pick your door up and set it on the roller. So you need some gap between the top of your door and this roller. So I got about 1/8 inch here. I marked the bottom of my rail, and that gives me where my top of my door is going to be. And so if you put this in to position, measure from the center of my rail down to the top of my door is now 1.25 inches. So I know the overall height of my door. If the overall height of my door is, say, 84, so that's 85.25. It's going to be, I can go inside and measure from my floor up 85.25, and that's where the center of this rail is going to land, and I can see if that's going to work or not. So you can see I've got trim around the door already. I don't want to take that down. So what I'll do is we're going to put a 1x4 up above the trim, and that will bring the door out far enough that it won't hit the trim. And so let me show you what I run into. And we said 85.25 would be the center of our rail, and to the top of that trim is 85.5. So to the top of that trim there is 85.5. So technically that would be the center of my rail, and that's not going to work. So what I did, say if I put a 1x4 directly, alright, so that'd be on 1x4, half of that, which is where I want my rail to sit, will be 2 inches, which is what I have marked here. So that will be the center of my rail. So there to the floor is 87.5, and so then I can subtract 1.25 inches from 87.5, and that gives me my door, what my door height needs to be. I also have to take in consideration is I have a piece of 1/4 round trim down here that sticks out further than this door trim facing, and so I'll make it a little bit long. It's possible I have to trim off the bottom or chamfer it pretty well to miss that 1/4 round. So it's not just as easy as throwing it up. It's a little more difficult. So what we're going to do now is we got this a 10-foot board right here that we're going to put above our trim on the door. That way our rail will stick out and our doors won't hit that.
We don't want to take the trim off.
Yeah, we don't want to take the trim off. Typically you would want to hit a stud. If you were just putting your metal rail up, you'd want to hit a stud in your wall. Since we're going to put this up, we've got it marked, and we've pre-drilled holes and countersunk holes every 12 inches. And this is 3/4 inch wood paneling, and so it's going to be pretty sturdy. There's only like 2 studs on this side of the wall, and I'm not sure how this header is framed above this opening. to be able to hit those studs. It would just be a nightmare. So we're gonna go ahead and mount this on the wall and let you guys watch. So every 12 inches we put 2 screws. I think those are 1.5 inches or 1.25 inches, maybe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're 1.5 inches. And so we countersunk them, and it's 10 foot of board. And so the center of our rail will mount on here, and so we'll do that next. We've got one door built. We just got to make sure that the height works out before we build the second one. So now we have our rail here put together. It's a 10-foot. This is a 10-foot rail, and so we're going to put it up in place, mark our center of our holes onto the board, drill a pilot hole, and then attach it with the lag bolts. So these lag bolts here that we're using, I'm not sure the size. Is what come with them, and I've got a 7/32. I'm gonna drill a pilot hole, and then probably just gonna drill a pilot hole through the
Wall and everything, or just the board?
just the board. I'll just let the screw grab whatever.
Okay.
What are you looking for?
Nothing, I'm just looking for you.
I don't remember.
You said I didn't have to do that one
Oh,
back
yeah,
there. Yeah.
So it takes a little finagling. You have to have some help to get it started. But you have these little spacers, and so one will go behind. They'll go behind the rail, and then get your screw started. It's easy if you got an impact driver.
What do you want me to do? Move the couch? What do we want? What? Your fan's right there. Whoop! Oh, that's much nice. Fan.
Make it longer. Well, I'm going to move them bumpers first.
I don't know. You can come down my way with it.
Yeah, but they're
Not
going
gonna hang
to
it.
try. I don't think it'll go up or not. So guys, this door is heavy. I don't realize how heavy it is. You know, you just think these 1x aren't going to be that heavy. This thing probably weighs what?
I don't know,
150, 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Like a kitchen table. And so that's one thing. One good thing about using this oak runner is and then anchoring it every 12 inches, because this is a heavy door, and so we want it to hang on the wall and not fall off in the middle of the night. So one thing I didn't realize is these stop blocks. This one should have been on this side of the bolt in order to let the door open up far enough. And then this one should have been on this stop block, should have been on this side of this bolt. That way when the two doors, see here's the seam, the two doors come together, you want them to meet. And so we'll just have to pull that bolt out and slide it down. And we'll take it out and sand and glue all these nail holes.
Paint it white, probably.
Probably paint it white. And then the other one will have the same angle design, just right the opposite. And this one we made it 86 and a quarter is what I cut the boards, and then I trimmed off about 1/8 inch either side. And so it's I've got probably 3/8 to 1/4 inch gap on the bottom here, and it's perfect. So it's 86 inches tall, the door is, and it just slides like a dream. You don't want to do that too many times. And so we've got little guides that go on the floor to keep it from flopping. We'll install those once we get it sanded and everything. We just want to make sure the door would fit before we built the second one. Alright guys, so you've been watching the time lapse. I want to kind of just to catch you up to where we're at, what I've been doing. So I've got a box of trim screws. These are 1.25 inch, number 8s I think. And so my other door worked out to be 35 and a half. This one I ended up cutting a little bit short. You lay out all your 1x4s on the bottom, this door is 86.25 inches long. We'll cut it down to 86 when we're done. You lay your 1x6s on the ends, get them flush. Take your space out of your, take up all your spaces, your slack, and then you measure what your centerpieces are. And then I use my big clamps to clamp them together. On my screws, on these horizontals, I put a screw in every board, or 2 screws in every board. And then I put 4 screws in the corner. 4 screws in the corner. I put 4 screws on this one. That's 2 screws in every board, and 4 screws there. 4 screws here, 2 and 4. And then whenever we put our diagonals in, they'll get 2 screws every board, 2 screws every board, and it equals out to right at 100 screws. So it's perfect. We might have, if we have any left, we'll do 2 here in the middle, 2 over there, 2 over there, 2 over there. The easiest way to find the length of this diagonal is so you measure the length. So I would cut this one at 42 1/4. And then, so say if this was the diagonal, so you cut your board at 42 1/4. You can take one of these little trim screws, find the center of this board, peg that in there, and then you flip that board upside down. That screw will be in the center of your board. You use that screw to find center of your door. Then you'll mark this spot, and you'll mark this spot, and then you flip it over, and you know your center is where your points are going to. So wherever your mark is here to the center, mark here to the center, and then you just cut it. So I had a template, but so you would find the center of the board, which is this point right here, and you peg that screw, and then you would cut a line here. This would be the center of your board, and then that centers it up on the door. Once you get your 2 nails or your 2 screws here, and then you can mark and draw your lines based off your other parts. But these are already marked. We're gonna get these cut and get them on our door.